We are live. Good morning and welcome to Dan Cummins Chevrolet and Buick in Paris, Kentucky, the second largest used car franchise dealership in the country. We have got a massive Saturday ahead. We've already had a great weekend. Round of applause to my team for having a killer Friday. We've already started off the weekend great. We're going to go into something, the title of today is going to be Never, Never Quit. So join us today, share the feed, let everybody know that we're here. Welcome, Dan Cummins. You guys messing with my lane here. All right, cool. Good morning, guys. I am so happy to be here. I can't stay long today. My son and I are having a little daddy-son weekend. He's got a ball game that I've got to get to, but I haven't been here in a couple weeks, and I missed you guys because I love being here on Saturday morning. It's the only time I get to spend with, like, all of you guys all together all at once. So I wanted to make sure to be here for the meeting today, and then I'll scoot out of here, and hopefully you guys will kill it, and I'll come back and see you a little bit later. So for starters, I wanted to read a couple reviews. Right here, Vanessa Bazan. All right, Terrence says her name is Vanessa. Okay, Vanessa says, Terrence is an exceptional representative. He listened to my needs and matched me with the car that was right for me. I never felt pressured. He patiently guided me through the decision to lease or buy and was very transparent. Christina Z was also an exceptional team member. She made sure I was comfortable and gave me a sense of security. I trust Christina and Terrence, which is why I chose to shop at Dan Cummins Chevrolet and Buick. Nice job. Very nice job. Lori says, I got a great deal on a car I love thanks to Nick Rogers. He went above and beyond. I'd recommend Dan Cummins and Nick to anyone looking to buy a car. Thank you for a great buying experience. Nice job, Nick Rogers. My friend Josh Russell says, Manny was very pleasant to work with and personable. Would definitely work with him again and recommend him to others. Nice job, Manny. One more. There's Nick Rogers again, but there's one more big one. Go down one more. Right here. This one says, thank you, Terrence, for helping me get my 2017 Malibu. I love it. Terrence went above and beyond to show me the bells and whistles on my car. I'm way behind on these new cars, LOL. Robbie Toomey, thank you for your help. Even when you weren't our sales guy, you were friendly and helpful. Mr. Finalized Finance Guy, thank you too. I'll definitely be back and recommend Dan Cummins to everyone. Nice job, guys. Okay, cool. We're going to go into a little slideshow presentation. Before we do that, you guys all know the story. We've heard of my man, Chuck Miller. Come up here real quick, Chuck. Chuck E. Cheese. Now, Chuck came to join us. He packed up his stuff and moved all the way across from Kansas City, Missouri, right?
Yep, did.
Kansas City, Missouri, to be a part of the Dan Cummins team. And our good friend Paul Meyer has been kind enough to let Chuck stay with him for the last 2 weeks, right? Which is pretty incredible in itself if you think about it, right? We got somebody we don't know and they don't know each other, but Paul opened his doors, let him stay in his house for a couple weeks. Well, Chuck gets the keys to his new apartment today, right, Chuck? Chuck gets the keys to his new apartment today here in Paris, Kentucky. And the management staff, we know that you came here with just the clothes on your back. So we all kind of gathered up and grabbed some stuff. So it looks like they've got Zach Toomey brought you a TV, and we got you a crock pot and some blenders, and we got you a bed and all kinds of stuff. So we'll get you hooked up in your new place today, all right? Cool?
Thank you.
You're very, 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 very welcome. All right, cool. Now that's what you call Southern hospitality right there, folks. We're going to teach Chuck what that's all about. Okay, now that we've got through that, I want to talk to you guys. As part of my dad-son weekend, I got to spend some time with this little guy right here, Mr. Joel Bryant. And luckily, we have a friend that works with the UK Wildcats. And he heard that my son and I were having a little alone time. All the other kids, my wife and all them, they're all up in Columbus. And so he said that if we could meet him, he'd give us a little tour. He'd give us a tour of the practice facility and the locker room and stuff for the Wildcats. So Joel and I went, and as you can see, that's Kevin Knox's size 18 Kevin Durant shoe that Joel was holding right there. I showed Joel that picture, and Joel was like, Dad, why'd you make me look so little? I said, buddy, it ain't me that's making you look little, man. That shoe is just massive. So that was cool. And then we went, there we go. we went into the Joe Craft Center. He gave us a little tour. Joel got to sit in the seats where they do the presentations and all that stuff, where they do all their strategies. And his eyes, I'm just telling you, his eyes were so wide. It was absolutely incredible. So then we went across from the Joe Craft Center. This is where the UK Wildcats, where they actually, where all the players stay. This is like their dorm. So we went over to the dorm. We weren't allowed to go upstairs. They're not allowed to have any guests in the dorm, period, ever, to keep them out of trouble. But we were able to go in the lobby, and the first thing Joel saw was a ping pong table. So we got to play a little bit of ping pong there, which was pretty neat. Then the guy that we were with, his name's Jesse. So Jesse pulls out the phone. He says, hey, do you think your son would want to meet an NBA player? And I said, yeah, I think I would want to meet an NBA player. But if you could do it for my son, that'd be great, right? So he pulls out his phone and he calls Bam Adebayo, who played for the UK Wildcats last year and now currently plays for the Miami Heat and happened to be in town. So he calls Bam and just says, hey, Bam, can you come by? There's a kid that wants to meet you. Bam's like, sure. Comes over to the place where all the players stay, and we got to meet Bam Adebayo, which was super, super cool. So as I'm talking to Bam Adebayo, I noticed Joel has ran off again because all he wanted to do was play ping pong. He didn't really care about this 6'10" Miami Heat athlete that was standing in the showroom. He talked to him for like 10 seconds and then went right back over to the ping pong table. Now, after that, we went over to Rupp Arena. He took us into Rupp Arena, and it was so cool. This was a moment where I kind of teared up a little bit last night because Jesse was letting Joel help him bring the balls out for the game they've got today. The UK's got a game today, and they got to get all the balls out and stuff for the game. So Joel was helping him carry them out. We went through the tunnel and went out to the floor at Rupp Arena. Now, as soon as we got to the floor, of course, Joel grabbed a ball, and he wanted to shoot on the Rupp Arena floor. So Jesse was sitting there as Joel shot and shot and shot. Now, Joel's a little guy, right? He's not the biggest 5-year-old on the planet. He's a little small, and he has a tough time getting that ball all the way up there, but he was trying, and 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 he just kept shooting. I mean, he just kept shooting over and over and over again for 45 minutes. Hitting the net, hit the rim a few times, couldn't quite get it over the rim, but he just kept firing away, man. The kid was just relentless, and he just kept firing away, just kept shooting for a long time. So, the reason I'm sharing this with you guys, I don't want to sit here and go over a family little slideshow, but what I learned a lot from my experience yesterday, and I kind of wanted to share that with you guys this morning, all the different things that I learned. So the first thing that I was reminded of last night as I was sitting there and Joel was holding this big size 18 shoes, I was reminded that we've got to dream big, guys. We have to dream big. You've got to put your visions out there so large and so far. Something that we've done a great job with at this dealership is we continue to expand our expectations. A few years ago, we thought 300 cars was the mecca, right? 300 cars was where it was at. That was our big dream, and that was our big vision. And then that became 400 and 500 and 600, and now we're trying to sell 11,327 cars this year. But it's the fact that we're constantly dreaming big that keeps us pushing, that keeps us going a little bit further all the time. So we got to remember to always, always, always dream big. Something else that I learned yesterday, or reminded myself of yesterday, is we got to surround ourselves with the people and the environments that we want to be in. As Joel's sitting in this chair, we're in this locker room, and I mean, it is phenomenal, okay? It's state of the art. It's got a massive TV the size of the wall. They have this big touch screen thing that you can play on. Everything is the finest furniture, the finest leathers. It was a beautiful, beautiful environment, and it got me thinking, why does Coach Cal, why does this university, why are they putting these players in such indulgent areas? Why are they spending all this money on a locker room? Why do they do that? And it just got me thinking, wow, if we want to extract greatness out of ourselves, we got to make sure that we're in an environment that's surrounded by greatness, right? Only the best of the best. These guys try to bring in the best players in the world. They don't want the B players. They don't want the C players. They don't want the average players. They're trying to be the best so they can surround themselves, so they can extract greatness. That's another thing that Josh and Dusty have been doing at this dealership that I'm so appreciative for, is they are making sure we have the finest facilities. We were over there yesterday. They're asking Josh whether he wants to put, some styrofoam stucco or some bricks. I mean, he's got to make all these different decisions on all these buildings, on all these facilities, on whether or not we get into the warehouse, and then buying the Rite Aid land over here, and then this room that we sit in now. Robbie and Tubi and I were talking about it the other day. We used to have these sales meetings in that kids' room downstairs, which was just this little tiny room, and these guys invested and gave us this massive room right here, this massive facility, so that we can be basically surrounded by greatness, so we can be comfortable, so we can extract the best out of ourselves. Really, 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 really neat. Something else that I learned yesterday is you always need to be prepared for a random game of ping pong. Okay? You just got to be ready. And here's what I mean by that. We can have the best laid plans. I had my son, and I thought, okay, we're going to go here. We're going to check this out. It's going to be cool. Oh, my gosh, he gets to meet a player. He's going to be thrilled. It's going to be amazing. So the player comes over, and Joel's like, fist bump, and he just wants to play ping pong, right? You guys ever been in those situations with a customer? You ever been out here with a customer, and everything's going perfect? You're showing them the car that you wanted to look at, and they're like, yeah, that's the right car, and it works for me, and everything's going along great, and you sit down, and you go over numbers, and then they just say, I'm going to think about it. And you're like, what do you mean? You said it was the right car. You said everything was great. You liked it. We had fun on the test drive. We laughed, and everything was good. Why aren't you buying it right now? Oh, well, I'm going to go check out this one at this other dealership. And we've got to be prepared. We've got to be prepared in those situations. Like, okay, wait, why? What did I miss? What step did I miss? Where are we going? How can we still make sure to follow through on this? How do we get this to go through to completion? We got to be ready for just a random game of ping pong at any point in time. Which takes training, right? That's why we train. We have to appreciate those that have done big things, but we don't want to idolize them for it. And that was a big one for me last night, because I was pretty hyped up about this guy coming, this Miami ball player coming to see my son. I thought he'd be pretty cool, and my son was like, yeah, it's cool, and he respected him, and he appreciated him. He gave a little fist bump and said, it was great to meet you, and he saw his little videos, and he thought that was cool, but ultimately, he wasn't going to idolize this guy. And sometimes we fall into that trap. We're looking at the guy next to us. We're looking at this person and going, well, he's doing it this way, and he's the man, and we got to do that. We got to appreciate and respect what they're doing, but we got to take a look at ourselves and make sure we're putting in the work. We don't need to idolize and say, well, that guy can do it, but maybe I can't do it. That's not the way it works. It's not the way it works. We've got to say, what steps did this guy take? How is this guy getting to this position? How did he do it, and how can I implement that in my life? A good example would be here in the dealership. A good example would be John Hinkson, right? John Hinkson, we look at him, we see what he does, and sometimes I think some of you, because I've heard you say it before, sometimes I think some of you are like, well, I could never sell that many. That's just something he does. He does something different. He's up here, I'm down here. And that's just not the truth, man. It's not the truth. You guys all have this exact same opportunity. There's nothing he can do that you can't do. Absolutely nothing. So you got to appreciate what he does, learn from what he does, follow the steps that he's following, and figure out how you can get to that level or even a little bit higher. Somebody that's done a really good job of that in this dealership lately is Troy Cord. Troy Cord has brought himself from a point where we weren't even sure if he should work here. He wasn't sure if he wanted to be here. He's brought himself from that point all the way to this level of excellence now. He's doing things above and beyond. I've really seen him grow in just specifically the last 60 days, more than anything, and his numbers are showing it on the other side. He quit idolizing and quit putting people up here thinking he wasn't that guy and started to realize that he is that guy and can be that guy. And everybody in this room can be that guy. So we learned that last night, which was super cool. I also learned that we always have to go the extra mile. Jesse, this guy right here, that's one cool cat right there, man. Jesse went above and beyond and over the top for us last night. He spent 2.5 hours with my son. 2.5 hours just taking us to these facilities. Jesse's worked for UK for 4 years now, worked with the team, he's the equipment manager there. I met Jesse in here. He just came in and bought a car. He came in to buy a car, and I happened to meet him, and we talked. This was a couple years ago. We talked, and I don't know exactly at what point it triggered, or I don't know exactly what I did, but somehow it connected, and Jesse just thought that we were the kindest place, and he thought I was a kind human being, and he loved what I did for him, and he wanted to pay the favor back. That's all he wanted to do, is just pay the favor back, just because I was kind to him at one time. We're not buddies. We've never hung out outside of this place. He just buys cars from us, and every time he comes here, he gets service that's over the top, because we extend a hand, we treat him special, we make him feel important, we make him feel like he's the only one. And in turn, we get to, my son got to have this experience. So I guess my point to you guys is, let's make sure we're continuing to go the extra mile for our customers. And my point also is, imagine what him going the extra mile is doing for that guy. I mean, Jesse just went over the top to create this experience. He didn't have to do it. He wasn't required to do it. He didn't get paid to do it. It was not his job. We ever heard that around here? It was not his job, but he went way over the top. And him doing that, him going that extra mile, just created an experience that my son will remember for a lifetime. That's what we want to express to our customers downstairs. That's what we want to do with our customers downstairs, is just go that extra mile. That's what we need to do as a team here in the dealership. We've got to go that extra mile. Just do that little bit extra, that stuff that we don't get paid to do. It will take you far, I promise. It will take you far, I promise. And this is the last thing. I think it's the last thing. Oh, yeah, I guess it is the last thing. There we go. Never quit shooting. Never quit shooting. Joel just kept shooting. He just kept shooting. He kept shooting. 45 minutes, he was just hitting the net. He was just hitting the net. And he just was relentless. And he's sweating, and he's running around. He's grabbing the ball. And me and Jesse are just sitting there talking, and I'm just watching this kid. And it was so cool, because they had turned on all the lights in Rupp Arena. And it was just him in the middle of the floor. And, he's out there all by himself. He's the star of the show. And he's just shooting and shooting. He's getting closer. He's getting closer. He's getting closer. But he can't quite get it up there. He's hitting the rim. And he's just shooting. He just wouldn't quit. He was relentless. And finally, one of the other trainer guys showed up, because Alabama was getting ready to show up so they could do their shoot around. And one of the other guys shows up, and he kind of like could see that, because I'm like, Joel, come on, man, you got to get off the court. And so he grabs the ball, and he like rolls it over, so Joel will come over. And Joel comes running over to me, and I'm thinking, okay, we're going to go. And he grabs another ball off the rack, and he starts running back out onto the court. And I'm like, no, son, we got to go. And he looked at me, and he said, Dad, I'm not quitting until I make a basket. That's what he told me straight up. And I was like, well, this isn't our house. This is Rupp Arena, and we might have to quit whether you make a basket or not. But I could just tell by the look in his eyes he wasn't going to quit until he made a basket, period. So I walked over there with him. He sat about midway between the free throw line and the hoop. And I said, all right, 1, 2, 3. And on 1, 2, 3, I just lifted him up a little bit as he took that shot, and he got to make a basket on the court at Rupp Arena. And his face lit up. He was stoked. I was stoked. And we get back, we get in the truck, we say bye to Jesse, who was just the most graceful host. We say bye to Jesse, and we're driving, and I'm talking to my son, and I said, Joel, that experience that we just had, that's not an experience that a lot of people get to have, and we need to make sure that we appreciate that, and we might not, you might not ever get to do anything like that again. You might not ever be able to be on that floor like that. And as I was saying it, I started thinking, wait a minute, what am I telling my son right now? And so I stopped mid-sentence, and I said, actually, Joel, just scratch that. Forget what I just said, son. If you work hard, if you're relentless, if you go above and beyond, do all the extra things, there's absolutely no reason why you can't be out there again. But the next time, you'll have the spotlights on, and you'll have all the fans sitting around you watching. And he looked at me, and he said, yeah, I think I'll do that. Just like that. Saturday, I think I'll do that. It was such a cool experience, guys, and I learned so much from it. But ultimately, this is the main one. You might be swinging and missing. You might be shooting and coming up a little bit short. But we just got to never quit, man. You just got to never quit. If that customer, if you're struggling with the customer, you can't quite find the right point, you just can't quite get there, you can't get to the point where you close the deal, well, guess what? You got a team of guys around you that'll come over, and they'll pick you up. They'll pick you up a little bit so you can make that shot, give you those few extra inches that you need so that you can close the deal. That's what we've got here. That's what we've built here at Dan Cummins. We got to never quit, be relentless, go above and beyond, and be over the top. You guys with me? If you're with me, stand up. Let's go. I am on a mission to eradicate the negative stigmas associated with the car business. I can do this by making people feel special, feel important, and feel like they're the only one. I will offer an experience that will exceed my customers' expectations today, tomorrow, and in the future. I will not just sell cars, I will create fans. Nice job, guys. Sam, do you have any balloon pops or anything? Hey, guys, we're going to get out of here. You have a great weekend. We're going to have a great weekend. Thanks for tuning in. Make sure to share. Dan Cummins, if you're in the market, I still got a couple 2017s left. I've got I believe it's over 100, or right at like 90 used diesel trucks that I've got right now. We've got over 400 Silverados in stock as the #1 Silverado dealer in the Southeast region. So come see us. We'd love to have you. We'll take care of you. I promise we will go above and beyond to offer you an incredible experience unlike any other. Thanks, guys.